Yeah, there it is. A Supercross track. We've got ourselves a Supercross track. We've got ourselves a Supercross staff. There's Daniel Blair, Dan Hubbard, Ashley Raynard up there. They're the live announcing crew, and then Blair is, you know, also as part of the NBC broadcast crew. It's starting to feel a lot like Supercross, and I know there's some weirdo side effects, like the fact that I'm wearing a mask, which will inevitably derail all the comments. Maybe in 2021 we're not going to do that anymore. I'm just telling you, these are the rules. This is not Angel Stadium, it's not California, it's not Anaheim, heck, it's not the Saturday that the first race normally takes place. It's a week later. There are some weird side effects, but today on this track they had press day and the riders rode, and I have to say it is beginning to feel a lot like Supercross. Despite the little side effects that we have to deal with, COVID's still in the air, in the headlines, still around. Look, these seats, by the way, have to be carefully blocked off so that we have social distancing. There's all kinds of signs. I can't go to the pits, and I'm going to intersperse some clips of them riding that I shot from up here because I can't go down there. Whatever, man. We're still going to get what we want, and that is amazing riders on amazing motorcycles doing amazing things, and we get to bench race about it all season long. And I got that same unbelievable feeling that you get at the opener every year when you're like, oh, I forgot about that guy. That guy's in there too. Just as an example, when you see Chase Sexton chasing Eli Tomac around and you're like, that's not a matchup we've ever seen before. That's old and new combined. That's awesome. Justin Barcia and Adam Cianciarulo getting into it just a tiny little bit. That's a relatively new matchup. That's fun. That's exciting. That's what we love about the opening round of the season, and we're still getting it, even if it's not in Angel Stadium. These shows, of course, brought to you by Honda. Let's talk about the Honda Talon, the sports side-by-side. Find out why life is better side-by-side. They got two versions of the Talon. You've got the R, that's the wider one with 20 inches of wheel travel. I'm gonna call it the West Coast version if you're out in the desert and you wanna bomb through whoops. And they also have the X version, that's for where I am on the east. I gotta get over this barrier. And it's narrower, you can take it on tight trails. But the coolest thing, with 1,000 cc's, almost limitless power, all that suspension travel, and the exclusive dual clutch transmission, not a CVT belt drive, but real gears. The dual clutch means you don't have to use a clutch, but when you hit those paddle shifters with 1,000 cc, the Talon's super fun. And I want to thank Honda for backing our show. Yeah, so let's talk about what we saw today. I know what you want to do. You want to bench race about this. 250 riders were out first. Jet Lawrence, oh my gosh. I know, I don't want to be part of the Jet Lawrence hype train. It does not need me. There's plenty of steam on that locomotive already. But Jet Lawrence, my God, did he look good. Now there's a section here, the whoops they didn't ride today, and then they go around this bowl berm, and then behind where that skid steer is, that's a pretty tricky section. Wow, I did not realize how rutted this track already got. Anyway, they can triple in, jump onto the table, and then there's a knuckle and two singles after that. And Jet Lawrence was wheel tapping both of those singles. A couple other 250 riders did it, but no one did it as crisp, as smooth, as clean as Jet. And here's really the book on him. I know that his personality and his profile have really kind of taken all the headlines for the Jet Lawrence career. But the first thing that ever stuck out to me when I saw him race at Loretta's a couple years ago was he's one of those guys that doesn't look like he's pushing it when he's going fast, you know, like a Kevin Windham type. And I really saw that in full bloom. I don't feel like I saw that quite as much last year, but it's kind of back here where he looked very fast, but also very in control while doing it. Now, the other 250 rider that stuck out to me was Christian Craig. That is an annual thing. I hope it never goes away. Season opener, you will watch Christian Craig ride and say, oh, he looks good. He really did. And he threw in some awesome whips and moves and everything like that too. I don't know if they're yelling at me, but whatever, I'm shooting a video, so I'm gonna keep going. They saying me to hurry up? Maybe. See how out of breath I am once I run these stadium stairs. It's not easy, is it? Okay, so that's 250s. Austin Forkner was also out there. He didn't really look that sharp. He never really got that double wheel tap like Jet and Craig. Colt Nichols got it pretty well. But it's press day. Let's not get too excited and say that Forkner doesn't have it or anything like that. See where else I can go. I know what you're here to talk about. You're here to talk 450s. 250 class, yeah. It's unbelievable. The 450 class is so loaded, they had to split it into two groups. So the first group, you know who led the very first group of 450 riders out on the racetrack for the first time? Wait a minute. Who is the first 450 rider on track in the 2021 season? Who is leading the pack? Who is the man they're all following? It's the number 10, Justin Brayton. Man, he looks good. And then the original, totally normal favorites really started to establish themselves. Didn't see any problems with Eli Tomac. He looked plenty quick. Marvin Musquin was really impressed. He looked racy, he looked feisty, he followed Tomac around a lot. I don't know if he's trying to measure himself, or maybe that's just where they ended up on the racetrack. But Marv, who we've kind of forgotten about because he didn't race Supercross last year, looked very quick, very racy, very feisty. And what you see from some of these guys is there's like, most of them are just doing the laps, just doing their thing. It's the first time they're out on track in 2021. No reason to do anything crazy. And then a few have a little bit more mustard thrown on it. And that's what I saw from Craig, for example. That's what I saw from Marvin. Cooper Webb eventually ratcheted up, and I saw him following Tomac around a little bit. But the spiciest of the spicy was Justin Barcia, all the way in that corner where that dozer is going down on the backside of a jump. Those are 4 jumps, and most were going double-double or triple-single. Justin Barcia, 2 times. 1 time in the first session, another time in the second session. Barcia was able to quad that. And to just add to the drama of him doing that, it's not an unbelievably huge jump, it's just a jump no one else is doing. Mr. Troy Lee himself was sitting next to me, socially distanced with about 5 seats between us. And, oh, Troy was pumped. He was pumped. Troy Lee has himself a 450 Supercross rider, a rider who's very capable, and he looked good. As Troy said, he's like, I don't know if jumping that quad's faster, but it looked better. Troy's an artist, man. He's all about that. So it was pretty cool. And then eventually when Barcia jumped it in the second session, he was near AC, and then we saw them kind of riding slow, not wanting to pass each other or show each other anything for the rest of that lap. So I thought that was interesting. Other news, Zach Osborne on these jumps right here, he went over the bars immediately. The second lap, he went over the bars and he limped off. I talked to Zach, or I texted him, he said he banged his knee, thinks he's okay. I think it was a bike problem actually, because he didn't even attempt to get back out there, and he did not ride for the rest of the day. So only about 1 3/4 laps completed by Osborne. Hopefully that knee is okay. That's unfortunate. I did not see Shane McElrath out on the racetrack. McElrath said he was going to be a race day decision. I don't think that's even going to be the case. I think the decision is already made. We'll see if he races tomorrow. He had separated his shoulder about 2 weeks ago. A couple other riders that look good. Malcolm Stewart always looks good. He was in the second group. They had Plessinger, Ferrandis, Mookie, the Hep Racing Suzuki riders, the Moto Concepts Bullfrog Spa Smart Top Honda riders, all in a second group. And I thought Mookie looked the best out of them. I saw some spiciness out of Plessinger. Ferrandis was more of the I'm just doing my laps thing, which most of the riders felt like. So that's it. The thing I was most impressed with, honestly, Jet Lawrence. Except, I guess really the most impressive thing is that we just saw riders at all. We have a season at all. I know it's weird to be in Houston. We're gonna have fans tomorrow, but it won't be packed like usual. Everything's a little bit different, but look, it's a Supercross racetrack. And that's really all that matters. And if you want to get a little deeper into this and you want to do what everybody likes to do in this game, which is break down that armchair quarterbacking, the mental side, I'll throw in 2 talking points that I've noticed over the last week when they've rolled out a ton of riders and Zoom calls and press conferences and team intros and all that. 2 guys I want to talk about. First, Ken Roczen. A couple of years ago, Ken Roczen was coming back from that gnarly injury, and I think he and his crew wanted to have that storybook ending. They wanted to come back, first race of 2018, the first time he had returned to Anaheim and win. That didn't work out, and then the whole season really didn't work out. Then he didn't win in 2019, had some heartbreakers. Finally won some races last year. I think this story has to include Ken Roczen being victorious and triumphant and winning this title to have full closure. I think they moved on from that. From a lot of the signals that I picked up from Ken with some of the videos Honda's put out and how he approached our press conferences this week on Zoom, I think it's a much more measured approach where Ken is just gonna do his best. He's gonna try to have fun. He's not gonna overly focus on any particular result. And I think he hopes that in the long run that actually allows him to get better results. He has ridden this emotional and physical roller coaster of having days where he feels horrible physically and then he rides badly, and I think that bums him out. obviously he's hoping those days are behind him and he has the health thing fixed. I'm gonna go away from that really annoying beep. But I think Ken doesn't want to ride the emotional roller coaster anymore. Go to the race, do your best, have fun, whatever you get, you get. And I know that makes people upset when they hear that, because they want to hear all the riders say, oh, I'm out here to do nothing but win. I will die for this championship. A lot of them tend to ride better when they don't put that kind of pressure on themselves. So I feel like Roczen is trying to have a more measured approach, a more, I'm just going to take it as it comes, I'm not going to get too high, too low. And then in the end, maybe that's the best way to win this championship. But I don't think he's going to be super depressed if he doesn't get it. He's just going to try to do his best, and maybe it works out. Another guy I want to talk about on that side is Barcia, who, look, I think Barcia is fully aware. He's been in a variety of teams and motorcycles throughout his 450 career, and most of the time he's had hints or allegations that the bike wasn't what he wanted. I think he knows now this is the 4th brand that he's ridden. It's ostensibly a KTM that the Red Bull Troy Designs gas team is working. That excuse just can't work forever. And it maybe it was a reason. It wasn't even an excuse. Maybe it was legit. But I think he knows he can't get away with that anymore. And I think he also knows there's extreme pressure going here where it's quieter, because everybody knows Barcia performs best at the opening round. He's got that tag on him. When I saw him at the gas team intro last week, he was surprisingly nervous. I expected, because gas is the fun brand, for Barcia to be wide open, out of control. But I think he knows, he's like, man, this is all on me right now, and the judgments are going to come harsh and quick if I don't do well in the opener, because that's what I'm known for doing. I feel like once he uncorked that quad and got out there on the racetrack, a lot of that pressure is going to come off, and it's going to be like, you know, I'm just riding my dirt bike and we're just at a race. I don't have to overthink it. But that's a lot of times what happens for these guys when they have months and months and months to think about what's coming next. And it also didn't help Barcia that while I think he was trying to downplay the opening round hype and downplay the I switched bikes hype, I mean, he literally was. He said the opening round thing, he said that it's totally blown out of proportion. It's nothing. He just happened to win the opener. I don't think there's anything really to that. While he was trying to downplay that, we know that Red Bull is putting the finishing touches on a video where they fake won Anaheim 1 this year. So that puts even more pressure on him. And I don't think that was probably when they shot that thing a month ago. Barcia probably wasn't in that frame of mind yet where he was even worried about that kind of thing. I would think if you're Barcia now, you'd be like, you know, I'm trying to downplay this, not upsell it, and that's eventually what happened. It'll be fine, it'll be over eventually, but I think there's a little extra pressure on him right now because he knows he can't keep talking about motorcycles, and everyone wants to keep talking about the opener thing, and I don't think he wants to go there. So that's a little bit of the armchair quarterback mental mumbo jumbo that we like going through. It's Supercross is what we do. And one other thing I want to mention, this is the old Astrodome. This is the 8th wonder of the world. Once a building that was so spectacular, people couldn't even believe it was real. And now it just sits here. It's tiny compared to the NRG stadium that I'm standing in right now. And apparently it is a historic monument, so they cannot tear it down. So it just sits. It's so old now, they can't use it for anything. It's pretty gross from what I've heard from the inside. I just missed the last Supercross they had in here. I wasn't traveling to all the races yet, but I heard the place looked terrible on the inside. And dude, that was like 16 years ago. So now it looks really bad, but they can't do anything with it. It's an historic monument. The Astrodome is cool, but it really shows you how much things advance. But hey, the only thing that really matters in sporting competitions, the buildings do have some lore. In our sport, Angel Stadium and Anaheim do. But when you see a dirt bike track set up on a stadium floor, that's all that matters. We got side effects, we got weird things going on, but we also have this. We have awesome riders on awesome motorcycles and an awesome racetrack, and it's all gonna happen here tomorrow. Enjoy it. And thanks to Honda and the Honda Talon Sports Side-by-Side for backing the Weege Show.